Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Attorneys for James and Jennifer Crumbley fight to have the charges against them thrown out.
I will concede that these parents made tremendously bad decisions.
A panel of judges asks tough questions as prosecutors say the charges against them should stick.
An intense back and forth with appeals court judges lasted for about an hour today. Good evening, everybody. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillia. Let's quickly get you caught up with what led us to this moment. James and Jennifer Crumbley were initially charged with involuntary manslaughter in connection with the Oxford school shooting. That initial charge came December 3rd of 2021. A few months later, February 24th, they were bound over for trial.
Then on November 29th of last year, the state Supreme Court hit the pause button on the trial, pushing that decision to a lower court, and that brings us to the hearing today in downtown Detroit. Let's get Sean Lay. Sean is live for us tonight. So, Sean, when can we expect a decision here?
We asked that as soon as the hearing wrapped up today. As you said, about an hour. We asked prosecutors walking out of the courtroom, when will you hear back from this three-judge panel? They certainly don't know. The judge is taking all these comments today under advisement, and they will report back at some point, something we're going to watch very closely for you. High-stakes hearing upstairs, and as you mentioned, these judges, the three-judge panel, had prosecutors.
The attorneys for James and Jennifer Crumbley argue that there was no way for the couple to foresee that their son would become a school shooter. But the three-judge panel pointed out that the parents were presented with the son's violent drawings and cries for help on a math worksheet just before the shooting. And they also knew they had just bought him a gun.
Both of the parents clearly understood that that was a major problem.
And they went to the school. Mr. Crumbley spoke with the school counselor and with people at the school, and it was indicated to him at that time, and I believe that the testimony also came out at exam, is that it was indicated to Mr. Crumbley at that point that there were no concerns about Ethan harming anyone else.
The judge is asking if the parents had a legal duty to help their son, a legal duty to check his backpack where he had the gun.
As a parent, I don't owe a legal duty to every kid at my 4 kids' schools. I don't owe a legal duty to every person my child encounters on the street.
The judge is also grilling prosecutors, saying they're charging the shooter as an adult. Do they mean to say only he is responsible for the shooting?
What do you fault the parents for most? Not opening the backpack, not taking him home from school, something else?
Certainly, Your Honor. The law does not prescribe one way in which ordinary care may be exercised. So there was a number of ways in which they could have exercised ordinary care to prevent this. So they could have checked to see if he had the gun they just gifted him days earlier on him. They could have simply taken him home from school.
Back here live. Again, the three-judge panel taking all this information. They did not rule today. The Crumbleys were not here. They're still being held in the Oakland County Jail. The courtroom, guys, packed with Oxford families. I spoke with one who said what really stood out to her was the judges continued to ask why didn't the parents look in their son's backpack when they were called to school that day. And again, a ruling will be coming down at some point. We'll certainly be watching it very closely for you live in Midtown tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
And we've talked so much about how unusual and extraordinary this approach is by the prosecutor's office. So you're right, Sean, a ton riding on this. Great.
Well, at the same time of that hearing, families of the victims spoke out about a recent court ruling. Late last week, a judge ruled the Oxford School District and its employees cannot be sued for the shooting, saying they have government immunity. Families have filed several lawsuits claiming the district and its employees ignored clear warning signs.
He didn't walk into the school with guns ablazing. He walked out of the counseling office with guns ablazing. Who's the immediate cause? I think you could make an argument that the school is the immediate cause. But we can't make that argument because our government doesn't want to be tested.
Coming up at 6, more reaction from the parents of Tate Myre and Justin Schilling.
An update now to a story we were bringing you as breaking news yesterday at this time. Police say the 13-year-old boy who shot an adult outside a Roseville school was apparently trying to get into fights with students. Police say the boy had been expelled and so was trespassing on school property at Roseville Middle School. Police say he had a gun and was trying to engage in fights with students. A 40-year-old man tried to intervene, and was shot twice by the teen. The victim was taken to the hospital. The 13-year-old was arrested, went before a judge on assault with intent to murder charges today. He is being held in a Macomb County juvenile jail. 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped in Mexico have been found dead, and 2 others have now been rescued.
This is happening just across the border from Brownsville, Texas, in the town of Matamoros, where cartel activity has been steadily on the rise. Alice Barr is tracking this story for us tonight from Washington.
Good evening. The FBI is working with Mexican authorities using cell phone data and other means to track down the people responsible and bring them to justice. Sirens sounding as ambulances cross onto U.S. soil, carrying 2 American citizens to a Texas hospital after a terrifying kidnapping that left one of them injured and 2 others dead.
We extend our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased.
The group of 4 had crossed the border through Brownsville, Texas, into Matamoros, Mexico, seeking a medical procedure, according to family members, when they came under heavy gunfire.
Attacks on U.S. citizens are unacceptable.
A law enforcement official calling it a likely case of mistaken identity and saying this video shows a group of armed men loading the Americans into a pickup truck.
They were not worried about what they were doing in broad daylight. They were not worried about using violence.
Citing crime and kidnapping, the U.S. State Department has since October warned Americans not to travel to Matamoros and the surrounding area. The Biden administration today vowing to fight cartel violence.
The DEA and the FBI are doing everything possible to dismantle and disrupt and ultimately prosecute the leaders of the cartels and the entire networks that they depend on.
We have imposed powerful new sanctions against cartel organizations in recent weeks.
Mexican officials say the 4 U.S. citizens were found by joint search actions and that work is underway to capture those behind the kidnapping.
And the task forward is to ensure that justice is done.
A tragic ending and a stark warning for Americans considering nearby spring break destinations. The incident raises questions about U.S.-Mexico relations with this unchecked, brazen violence happening so close to the U.S. border. The White House promising stepped-up efforts to prevent dangerous cartel members from crossing into the U.S. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
Hey, Alice. Also here at 5, a little less than 2 hours from now, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan will deliver his 10th State of the City address.
Doing it in a pretty cool venue. Take a look, live pictures from above the Michigan Central Station in Corktown in the middle of that massive renovation by Ford. Will Jones is there live for us with a preview of tonight. Will.
Hey, Devin and Kimberly. Mayor Duggan chose this location for a reason. He wants to highlight the development here at the Michigan Central Station. So he plans to talk about the development and what it means for the greater Corktown area. Tonight, the mayor will also outline a 10-step plan for neighborhood improvement, which includes clearing alleyways, replacing sidewalks, tackling illegal dumping, and expanding beautification grants to community organizations. Crime is a major concern of Detroiters. Duggan will announce a new gun violence prevention program. The mayor will also share his plans to create more affordable housing, but development will be a big portion of his speech. Duggan will tout major development projects and their importance to the growth of the city's revenue. With that, he's going to emphasize how incentives are making the development projects possible. This will be Duggan's 10th State of the City. I had a chance to look inside. The setup is underway, so this will get started around 7 o'clock tonight. We're live in Corktown. Will Jones, Local 4.
It'll be really interesting to see how they've got the inside set up for us to watch tonight. All right, Will, make sure to join me, Kimberly, and Christy McDonald. Starting at 6:30, we'll be on Local 4 Plus with a preview of the speech. And then at 7, you can watch the State of the City live on Local 4, Local 4 Plus, and clickondetroit.com.
Look forward to it. All right. Now to the forecast. And I tell you, we really deserved a day like today after all of the wild weather we've seen here. These are live pictures from our Ann Arbor sky cam.
We'll head east from there. A look from our Windsor sky cam. Look at that shot. Pretty. Clear as a bell right now. Nothing to worry about for days and days. And well, maybe not.
Maybe day 1 or 2 days.
That's right.
Really nice day outside, though, to get outside. Still pretty chilly.
What do you say, Kim?
Yeah, days and days. That's 2. That's all. 2. After
Unfortunately.
that, all bets are off. 42 with sunshine right now at Metro Airport. 43 City Airport, lagging behind Mount Clemens in the upper 30s. Also Port Huron at 37, 39 in Pontiac, and 42 over in Ann Arbor. A little bit warmer than it was at this same time yesterday, headed in the right direction. 8 degrees warmer at City Airport, 7 at Metro, 7 in Ann Arbor. Keep in mind, yesterday we did have that wintry mix for your drive home. Tonight, a much nicer drive home. And tomorrow looks like a much nicer day. Winds will be out of the north at around 5 miles per hour, 28 in the morning, so a little bit chilly. By noon, we're at 36, and we go back into the low 40s with plenty of sunshine tomorrow afternoon. But we are tracking a system for the end of the week. I'll talk about how much snow we're expecting coming up in the forecast.